How important are sponsorships to your career today? I find that they've been very, very important in my career. And I'm here at AICPA today with Jim Wallace with BPM, and I'm Joey Havens with Horn. And we're going to talk about sponsorships and why they're so important to people's careers. So, Jim, I'd like to start out and just ask you, what does sponsorship mean at BPM?
So sponsorship is, of course, the simple answer, helping people advance their career. But we have an organized program of performance advisors, of mentoring and coaching that helps people advance their career. And then we also promote advocacy, which goes beyond sponsorship or beyond mentoring and coaching, and where people actually use their personal capital to help people be successful, help them win opportunities, to have them take leadership positions and move their career forward in the firm.
So when you talk about sponsorship, rarely do I hear you say sponsorship without saying advocacy. So what's so important about advocacy, and why is that different from being a mentor?
So a mentor or a coach, internal or external coach, is about the one-on-one relationship between the coach and the protege. Advocacy was when you take it out of that circle and you now start using your influence and your personal capital to advance somebody's career, to create learning opportunities for them outside of that one-on-one relationship, and it helping them to advance and be successful. So I know at Horn you have a cultural building block around sense of belonging, and right. I'm guessing that sponsorship is a big part of that as well.
Absolutely. We call our firm culture Wise Firm, and sense of belonging is really important because you really can't reach your full potential unless you have a strong sense of belonging, because you have to take risks to reach your full potential. And so when you have sponsors and advocates, they are getting you in opportunities. They're getting you access to leaders. They're opening up their network. And so at Horn, we started our formal sponsorship program in 2014, and we're continuing that on. And now some of those that were proteges in our original sponsorship, they are now leading that and sponsoring other people. So yes, it absolutely has a big effect on sense of belonging.
So how did sponsorship impact your career in helping you get where you are today?
You know, I know that I wouldn't be where I'm at today if it was not for people sponsoring me and being advocates for me, and a lot of times that's informally. And you know, I think the key for us today, to the reason why we want to have this discussion about sponsorships, is because it's not an equitable playing field. And that's why firms, companies need to be very, very intentional about creating that opportunity for everybody that's on the team.
So you asked earlier about why I differentiate with advocacy versus sponsorship or mentoring. And one of the things is the equity, making an equitable area or even playing field. And that's why I think advocating is so much more important, or goes beyond just mentoring or coaching. Because if we want to have an equitable playing field, then people need to get out of their comfort zones, and they need to advocate for people that are different than them. We all tend to sponsor or coach or mentor or advocate for people like ourselves, and we have to have programs in place, and we have to encourage people to get out of the box and advocate for people who are different than themselves. And that's part of our initiative at BPM, is to do that as well.
Yeah. And you know, when you implement a program like this, you run into a lot of different barriers, and I'd be interested to see if BPM has had some of the same ones Horn has had. But sometimes people don't realize they need a sponsor or an advocate. And one of the strengths of being a leader or having a great career is being helpable. And so it's really important. Do you find that? Is that one of the barriers y'all run into?
It is the barrier that they don't necessarily see that they have the coaching need. And then another barrier is not enough internal people to do the coaching or sponsoring. And I think, like you at Horn, we've gone outside of the firm, and we use external coaches. And I think you're fortunate enough that you've been able to do something similar, but have people inside the firm.
Yes, coaching is a big part of that, but it's actually outside of the sponsorship itself. But I would say another thing that we struggle with is getting sponsors to understand that role, and as you say, advocate and put political capital into the game for somebody. Right. And so we go through training both for the protege and the sponsor, so people kind of know what their role is. But it's really important today in looking forward to anybody's career, sponsorship is really, really important.
I know in my career I can think of very specific instances where somebody advocated for me, took the time to make sure I got into a leadership position to learn, or stood up for me when an opportunity created. And like you, I wouldn't be where I am today if I hadn't had those opportunities and those people. So we owe it now to make sure that all of us who have been successful and had a chance are able to return that and sponsor or create environments where sponsorship's important.
So this has been a very healthy discussion today about sponsorships, and Jim, I certainly appreciate you showing us the inside of BPM and what y'all are doing in sponsorships. And we want to encourage everybody, hopefully this discussion has been helpful for you, but we want to encourage you to be helpable. In other words, don't resist that. Everybody needs sponsors, and so it's really a good thing. So thank you for tuning in today, and we really appreciate that.